And although it's under Islamic control today, worship of the Judeo-Christian God on this site dates back nearly 4,000 years.
For thousands of years, no one dared to touch it. The Temple Mount, or Haram al-Sharif, the noble sanctuary, stands at the heart of Jerusalem, where heaven and earth are said to meet. To Muslims, it's where the Prophet Muhammad ascended into the skies. To Jews, it's the site of Solomon's and Herod's ancient temples, the very center of the world. And to Christians, it's where prophecy was fulfilled. For centuries, the sacred hill was untouchable. No shovels, no excavations, no questions answered. Its stones kept their silence while generations prayed above them. But recently, that silence was broken, not by men, but by machines. Between 2021 and 2024, scientists used artificial intelligence and ground-penetrating radar to scan beneath the mount for the first time in history. What they found sent shockwaves through the scientific community. Chambers, tunnels, and something that defied every expectation. A discovery that could rewrite what we thought we knew about Jerusalem's past and the faiths that built it. So, what lies beneath the holiest hill on earth? Let's uncover the hidden world beneath the stones. If you love mysteries of ancient history, faith, and forgotten science, subscribe and join us as we reveal the truth that left every expert speechless. Long before algorithms, satellites, or scanners ever mapped the world, there was a single mountain known to nearly every faith, the Temple Mount, a place so sacred even its dust was believed to breathe the presence of God. Over 4,000 years ago, it first appeared in ancient Hebrew texts under another name, Mount Moriah. Here, the patriarch Abraham was said to have faced his greatest test of faith, to offer his son in obedience to the divine. It was the first covenant, the moment humanity's relationship with God became personal. The stone altar, the silence of the sky, the staying of the blade. This was where faith itself was born. Centuries later, the warrior poet King David conquered Jerusalem and made it his capital. But for David, Jerusalem was not just a throne. It was a promise. He declared it the spiritual heart of Israel, a place where heaven and earth would meet. Yet David never saw the sanctuary completed. That task fell to his son, King Solomon. Solomon built what the scriptures call the first temple, a structure so magnificent that even ancient historians struggled to describe it. Walls lined with gold, floors of white marble, and deep within, the Ark of the Covenant, resting in the inner chamber known as the Holy of Holies. Here it was believed the very presence of God dwelled among men. For nearly 4 centuries, this temple stood as the center of the world, a place of prayer, prophecy, and pilgrimage. But in 586 BCE, that golden age came to an end. The Babylonian Empire swept through Jerusalem, destroyed the temple, and carried away its treasures. Among those lost relics was the Ark itself, its fate still one of the greatest mysteries in history. And that's where our modern story begins. Today, AI scientists are revisiting these ancient mysteries, not with scrolls, but with servers. They feed biblical references, satellite images, and ancient topography into neural networks trained to recognize lost architectural layouts. Search engines are filled with their data: Solomon Temple layout, Ark coordinates, Temple Mount subsurface map. Each model runs thousands of simulations comparing sacred texts with known fault lines, underground voids, and forgotten tunnels. And then, anomalies appear, perfectly straight alignments beneath the current Temple Mount platform, geometric patterns matching the proportions described in the Book of Kings, even signals suggesting sealed chambers, too symmetrical to be natural. Could these be the footprints of Solomon's temple, or the echo of something even older, a pre-Israelite shrine still buried in the rock? After the Babylonian exile, the people returned and rebuilt the sanctuary, the Second Temple. Later, under Herod the Great, it became one of the most breathtaking wonders of the ancient world. Here, prophets spoke, rituals burned, and pilgrims from every corner of the empire climbed the steps to pray. But again, history turned cruel. In 70 CE, the Romans razed it to dust. Only fragments remained. Massive foundation stones, too heavy for time to erase. Those same stones still form the base of the Temple Mount today, silent witnesses to thousands of years of worship, war, and waiting. And now, 21st century technology is trying to finish the search that prophets began. Artificial intelligence is scanning every layer, every coordinate, searching for the truth hidden in the bedrock. For the first time, history, faith, and machine learning have joined hands, decoding a mystery that has endured since Abraham first looked to the sky. The question remains, what did Solomon really build on this mountain? And what, if anything, still lies buried beneath the stones where heavenry? When the smoke of Rome rose over Jerusalem in 70 CE, the world changed forever. The Second Temple, the pride of Herod's empire and the heart of Jewish worship, was consumed by flame. Stones that once echoed with prayer were torn apart by soldiers. Thousands fled, and the mount that once held the presence of God was left in ruin, a scar of faith buried in ash. But even in destruction, the Temple Mount refused to be forgotten. Early Christians came to this broken ground, whispering the prophecy of Jesus, "Not one stone shall be left upon another." They saw the ruins not as the end, but as a fulfillment. To them, the fallen temple was a sign that faith had moved beyond walls and altars. That divine presence now lived within the hearts of believers. Centuries passed. Empires rose and fell. And then, in the 7th century, a new faith looked toward Jerusalem, Islam. According to tradition, the Prophet Muhammad ascended to heaven from this very hill during his night journey. Over the ruins of the ancient temple, the Dome of the Rock was built, its golden crown reflecting the sky like fire reborn. Beside it, the Al-Aqsa Mosque rose, completing one of the most sacred sites in Islam. From that moment, the mountain bore two names, Temple Mount and Haram al-Sharif, the noble sanctuary, a single space shared by three great faiths. For more than 1,000 years, this hill would be claimed, conquered, and consecrated again and again. The Crusaders seized it in the name of Christ, transforming Al-Aqsa into the headquarters of the Knights Templar, the legendary warrior monks who believed the mount hid divine relics beneath its floors. When Saladin reclaimed Jerusalem, the mount was restored to Islam, its sanctuaries purified once more. The Ottoman Empire protected it for centuries, then the British governed it. Now, in the modern age, it rests under Israeli sovereignty, but remains under Islamic custodianship. Each empire wrote its name upon the stones, but none truly possessed it. And through it all, the Temple Mount has remained a paradox, a place of unity that divides, a place of peace that ignites wars, a place where every shovel strike could shake the world. That's why archaeology here is almost forbidden, not by science, but by fear. One misstep could inflame nations. For centuries, the stones have guarded their silence, until now. Today, AI scientists and digital archaeologists are using technology to do what human hands cannot, explore without touching. They feed terabytes of satellite imagery, ground-penetrating radar data, and ancient architectural records into powerful machine learning systems. Their search history reads like a digital prayer list: Temple Mount subsurface 3D model, Crusader tunnel map, AI reconstruction dome of the rock, King Solomon's foundation algorithm. Each search leads to patterns, walls beneath walls, foundations within foundations, suggesting that every empire built upon the bones of another. Even more shocking, the AI occasionally detects voids and anomalies that correspond with forgotten blueprints from Ottoman-era surveys. The data hints at hidden chambers sealed since antiquity, structures that defy clear explanation, but no one dares to dig. No one dares to confirm. The Temple Mount, or Haram al-Sharif, remains untouchable, not by science, not by politics, not by faith. It stands as the world's holiest paradox, a mountain that belongs to everyone and no one. And as artificial intelligence continues to scan beneath its surface, the question grows louder. What truth has been waiting beneath these stones for 2,000 years? And when it's finally revealed, will the world be ready to face it? For centuries, the Temple Mount was untouchable. No shovels, no excavation, no human hand permitted to disturb its sacred surface. But in the late 1990s, that silence was shattered, not by an archaeologist, but by accident. During a construction project on the southern end of the mount, workers unknowingly removed hundreds of tons of ancient soil packed with fragments of Jerusalem's forgotten past. Truckloads of sacred earth were dumped in the Kidron Valley. Destined, for most, it was just debris. But for two archaeologists, Dr. Gabriel Barkay and Zaki Dvira, it was a once-in-a-lifetime chance. Forbidden to dig on the mount itself, they realized this soil was their only doorway to its secrets. They gathered every mound, every grain of dust, and began what would become one of the most extraordinary projects in modern archaeology, the Temple Mount Sifting Project. They built it from nothing, a handful of volunteers, sifters, and buckets under the open sky. But word spread. Soon, people from around the world arrived. Students, soldiers, families, even tourists, all sifting through the sacred earth. Each handful of dirt became a prayer, each discovery a heartbeat from history. Then the miracles began to appear. Tiny pottery shards from Solomon's era, bronze coins from the Hasmonean dynasty, Roman nails, Byzantine crosses, Islamic tiles, and Crusader arrowheads. Even an ivory comb etched with the world's oldest known Canaanite inscription, proof that human civilization had lived, prayed, and built upon this hill for thousands of years. More than 500,000 artifacts have now been cataloged, each one telling a fragment of the Mount's story. Together, they reveal something profound. This place was never empty. It was alive through every age: Solomon, Babylon, Rome, Islam, the Crusaders, and beyond. For the first time, the Temple Mount was giving up its secrets, not through destruction, but through restoration. A global community, Jews, Christians, Muslims, skeptics, and scientists, united by curiosity, brushing away dust and finding common history beneath their fingertips. And in the 21st century, the project took another leap. AI analysts and digital archaeologists began scanning and cataloging the finds, building 3D reconstructions of shattered pottery and eroded coins. Search engines lit up with global interest: Temple Mount Artifact AI Reconstruction, Barkay Dvira Soil Analysis, Temple Mount Ancient DNA Scans. The algorithms began to notice patterns that human eyes missed, matching soil composition to specific historical eras, linking burned ash layers to biblical destruction events. Some AI systems even recreated missing inscriptions, predicting how broken letters once formed royal seals or temple markings. It was as if the mount itself was beginning to speak again, grain by grain, shard by shard, whispering the story of civilizations that once walked its slopes. This was no longer just archaeology. It was resurrection, a sacred dialogue between the past and the digital future. What had been forbidden to dig had found a new way to reveal itself, Through accident, through faith, and now through code, the Temple Mount's hidden history was returning to light. But as new technology probed deeper, scientists began asking a question that would change everything. If this much history was found in discarded soil, what remained still buried beneath the stones themselves? For generations, archaeologists dreamed of uncovering what lay beneath the Temple Mount, but no one dared to dig. Politics, religion, and fear had sealed the mountain tighter than any vault on earth. Until now, between 2021 and 2024, a new kind of exploration began, one that didn't need shovels or picks, but light, data, and code. An international team of scientists from Israel, the UK, and the United States launched a project unlike any before, combining ground-penetrating radar, GPR, with artificial intelligence imaging. Their mission: to see beneath the mount without ever touching it. Dozens of radar antennas were placed discreetly around the perimeters of the old city, on rooftops, in tunnels, and along the Western Wall Plaza. Each pulse of radar energy passed through layers of soil and stone, bouncing back faint echoes of what lay hidden below. Terabytes of signal data were gathered, far too complex for human eyes to interpret. So, the team turned to machines. Using AI trained on thousands of historical blueprints, ancient maps from the Ottoman archives, and survey data from the British Mandate era, the computers began assembling a digital skeleton of the mount. Slowly, ghostly shapes emerged: geometric alignments, subterranean voids, tunnels running parallel to known temple walls. At first, the scientists dismissed them as natural fractures or drainage channels, but as the scans deepened, the anomalies grew clearer: too regular, too perfect, too engineered. Then came the breakthrough. A single radar sweep, taken beneath the southeastern foundation, revealed something extraordinary: a circular void, perfectly symmetrical, sealed deep within the limestone bedrock. It measured over 9 meters wide and 6 meters high, with a smooth, reflective interior unlike any natural formation. The algorithms ran the data 100 times. The shape remained identical. AI comparison models showed something even more unsettling. The void's dimensions matched the inner chamber, described in the Book of Kings, the Holy of Holies of Solomon's temple. Every coordinate aligned, every angle was exact. The research team fell silent. No one dared say what they were thinking. Had the mountain just revealed the most sacred room in human history, a chamber untouched for nearly 3,000 years? Further scans showed narrow corridors leading toward the void, like arteries feeding into a hidden heart. Some appeared collapsed, others sealed by slabs of dense stone, perhaps intentionally blocked long ago. In private forums, the AI specialists began debating. Some argued it was merely geological, a pocket of air, a trick of signal reflection. But others pointed to a disturbing pattern: faint metallic echoes embedded within the chamber's walls. It wasn't Saint empty space. Something was in there. When the results leaked online, global interest exploded. Search engines filled overnight with terms like Temple Mount AI scan results, Underground Circular Chamber Jerusalem, Solomon's Temple digital map, Ark of the Covenant radar data. Within weeks, government agencies restricted access to the dataset. The official statement called it a topographic anomaly. But those who saw the full 3D reconstruction whispered a different theory: that I had finally done what humans never could. Without a single spade of dirt lifted, the mountain had been opened. Not by force, not by faith, but by the silent gaze of artificial intelligence, a machine that saw through stone and time. And what it saw beneath the Temple Mount was something humanity may not be ready to face. In the heart of the old city, under the weight of 3 millennia of prayer, the mountain finally revealed its secret. The scans that once showed faint lines and empty voids now formed a complete picture, a sealed chamber, circular and untouched, hidden deep beneath the Temple Mount. Through advanced rendering, the AI reconstructed the interior in digital space. What appeared was not chaos or rubble, but deliberate design. A stone basin, carved from a single block, fragments of ancient oil lamps, their soot still clinging to the walls, traces of incense residue preserved in the airless dark. Every element whispered of ritual, of something sacred performed long ago. As archaeologists compared the findings, one detail froze the entire lab. Along one inner wall, the AI detected shallow carvings, too faint for the naked eye, but visible in infrared. When the symbols were translated, they formed words in Paleo-Hebrew, the script of Solomon's era. "Here dwells the name." The phrase sent a chill through every scholar who read it. For in ancient Israelite tradition, the name was more than a word. It was the presence of God himself. Carbon dating estimates placed the chamber's formation around 950 BCE, precisely the era of Solomon's first temple. Even the limestone composition matched that of the temple foundations found in earlier Jerusalem excavations. Every layer of evidence aligned: architecture, language, age. The team that had once spoken in equations and data now stood in silence. One researcher later wrote in her log, "We came here to scan the ground, but something scanned us back." The discovery spread quietly among academic circles, never fully reaching the public. Official statements called the results inconclusive, but those who had seen the full render refused to forget what they saw: a hidden sanctum, perfectly preserved, waiting in darkness. Was it truly the Holy of Holies, the room where the Ark of the Covenant once rested? Or was it something even older, something that predates the known temples? Theories divided the scientific community. Some saw it as proof that faith and history were never separate at all, that beneath every myth lies memory. Others feared the implications, because if one hidden chamber existed under the mount, how many more slept beneath Jerusalem? And so, the mountain that had been silenced for centuries, bound by faith, guarded by nations, and untouched by hand, finally spoke, not through voice or vision, but through light, data, and silence. In that silence, one truth echoed across time: some places were never meant to be opened. The Temple Mount had spoken once, and now the world waits, wondering if it will speak again.